The Curious George vs. Barney movie just came out over the weekend, and well, there are many things I dislike about Hollywood, but a giant f***ing monkey punching a giant f***ing dinosaur on top of a f***ing aircraft carrier isn't one of them. I mean, everybody's gangster. Until Godzilla starts crawling like a crocodile. Bravo, you hippie. Pinky in the air while drinking Starbucks douchebags. But wait a second, hold the phone. Where's the part where they team up and kidnap Princess Peach and fight Mario to take over the Mushroom Kingdom once and for all? But you know what? It. At least Mr. Kong isn't in love with some pasty, plastic, basic white girl. So hooray! A rare win for those soy latte sipping degenerates over in California, yay! Now I'm actually pissed off. I know, surprise, surprise. I'm pissed off because nobody has realized that Jeff Bridges looks suspiciously a lot like King Kong now, doesn't he? But you know what? It's fine. It doesn't matter. But if this movie was called She-Zilla versus Queen Kong, all of the lazy, unequipped, incompetent journalists would have given it 11 out of 10. So stunning and brave. We are going to get to those dickheads later on in the video, but I'm here to tell you that this film promised two monsters fighting and it delivered. It was simple and to the point. The second and third act was non-stop kaiju action in the best possible way. This movie makes you have an identity crisis because at times you feel for Godzilla, but other times you feel for Jeff Bridges. This movie had surprisingly emotional moments for a movie solely focused on a feud between two monsters. However, I personally wanted the movie to explore King Kong's loneliness. He seemed like he really wanted to find more of his kind in Hollow Earth. But I should mention that this is the kind of movie that 100% needs to be experienced in a cinema. But sadly, as we all know, that's not possible for a lot of people. But I cannot wait for the sequel, because the sequel will be called Godzilla and Kong vs. Communism. Oh, could you imagine? I will be there watching that movie day and date, no questions asked. Now in Godzilla vs. Kong, Jeff Bridges finds out what happens when you bring a battle axe to an atomic breath fight, because a radioactive monster lizard whose body runs on nuclear fission spits out an atomic beam that melts literally everything versus a big monkey. Gee, I wonder who could have won. And by the way, can I just quickly say, whoever designed the mechanical sounds for Mechagodzilla needs an award right now. Anyway, look, all Jeff Bridges had to do to win was say, "Save Martha!" And Godzilla would be like, "How do you know that name?" And Jeff will be like, "Did we just become the best of friends? I mean, think about it. Two heroes battle and then they team up to fight a bigger threat. Doesn't that sound a lot like BVS? Am I the only one that doesn't give a shit about the human characters in these movies? Because I think they did a great job limiting the human storylines, because nobody would give a fuck about it. We came here to see Jeff Bridges and Godzilla throw hands. Anyway, I love how in the movie all the humans were like, "We did it, Kong, we saved the world." Meanwhile, there were millions of people who died while those two were fighting. That's very awkward. Way to care about your fellow man there. Millie Bobby Brown's character literally didn't do fuck all in this whole movie, except walk like a penguin and talk like a duck. She has the same angry, I mean business face that she has in everything she's in. Her character deserved zero screen time. They could have done a much better job introducing the Mecha Godzilla instead of having us follow this dumb ass character. And another thing that pissed me off, since we're on this subject, is that a multi-trillion-dollar Mecha Godzilla project couldn't afford to have a better security system to prevent a goofball and two annoying ass kids, because they spent trillions of dollars on a fucking mech just for a single computer to operate it. You know, that reminds me a lot of the rise of Soy Walker. Remember when Palpatine had 100,000 Star Destroyers which had an off switch on one single Star Destroyer that predictably and inevitably got compromised, and he lost all of his ships? I mean, wouldn't Palpatine, the mastermind that fooled the entire Jedi Order by playing both sides, be a little bit smarter than put his entire fleet into disarray because he didn't do a lick of security work? Funny enough though, that isn't even the most brain dead part of that movie. I am all the Jedi. Anyway, I'm going on a side tangent. Let's get back on topic. Imagine pouring whiskey on a switchboard to short circuit Mecha Godzilla. That is just piss poor writing across the board. Now, it was a great decision to focus more on King Kong because King Kong has such an expressive face that makes you connect with him and makes you like him more as a character. He's not just a big monster. But in general, I think that the monsters showed enough emotion, but not in a overly cartoony, hyperbolic way. I would have personally liked to see a movie that went a little bit more into the lore. But hey, I'm not complaining. Now let's get to the main event of the video. Now this review is exactly why no fucking wonder your company is out of date. I mean, what did these morons expect? Shakespeare? A revenge story that rivals Hamlet? I mean, these fairies went into a movie called Godzilla v Kong and complained that it was too much of Godzilla fighting Kong. In Godzilla v Kong, a giant lizard and a giant ape fight, and that's the best thing we can say about it. If you're expecting a halfway intelligent script or a set of human characters who act like thinking beings, you'll be disappointed. Wow, you're telling me that a movie with a big gorilla and an oversized angry lizard isn't a practically intellectual film? Imagine my shock. Insert surprised Pikachu face. I'm sorry that we didn't get to see the Tiananmen Square or the courageous identity politics being shoehorned in. I mean, who goes to a Godzilla film and cries that they don't see humans? The same idiots probably who drink their soy lattes with extra soy. On the other hand, if you're also expecting a halfway intelligent script or a set of human characters who act like thinking beings with discernible motivations beyond being experts, so why plot event can occur, you'll be massively disappointed. The more I do that voice, the more my balls start to shrink. Anyway, imagine going to a movie marketing itself as two monsters fighting and then seeing exactly that, and then having the nerve, the unmitigated gall to complain about getting what the creators promised. You know, a better question to ask is, how can someone criticize a Godzilla film but give Wonder Woman 84 a rating of 9 out of 10? That is why I will always laugh at these dingleberries, because there's no consistency, no way to ever know what these fart-sniffing lunatics would enjoy. I mean, who has the time for piddling concerns like characters and dialogue when there's a $100 million CGI fight to animate? Yes, at the end of the day, this is a cookie cutter, turn off your brain blockbuster, and half the plot is interchangeable with Batman vs Superman. But expecting any different is just lazy. Just enjoy the alpha fighting, you bitch. And let me just say this, the humans aren't actually fighting in these Godzilla movies. The humans are there to look insignificant in the face of these titanic beasts, not to triumph over them. A movie in which kaiju fight each other and the rest of the script isn't as brainless as your average garden lizard remains as rare as a discovery as Kong himself. Okay, listen to me, you dits. This is a Pacific Rim style movie. Nobody cares about the plot. All we want is kaiju monsters beating each other up with some rocket punches for good measure. Asking for a good plot for a kaiju movie is like hiring a hooker to guard your virginity. It's not gonna end well, my friend. Anyway, look, I love how these movies just continue to prove that these critics are just pretentious wankers who honestly no one should listen to. I mean, these movies don't all have to push the envelope and try to be deep thought pieces. What were these idiots expecting? The Academy Award for the best human character development goes to Godzilla and King Kong. You know, I've got a better idea. How about you shut the up? Nobody wants to hear it, because if they just titled the original 1954 Godzilla film Huge Monsters Fight, nobody cares about the stupid humans, this franchise would have been even bigger and more popular than it is today. And it's the fact that they strayed away and did those human storylines which were just mindless, incoherent babble that set the franchise back big time. Unless you put it in the hands of David Fincher or the Coen brothers with Aaron Sorkin writing, it's never gonna work. It's gonna fall flat on its face. Anyway, the fights in this movie are the greatest fights in the entire Godzilla saga, and one of the coolest and most epic moments in cinema history. Just pure rush of adrenaline. We need to continue the Monsterverse. The world needs it. I personally give this movie a solid B, because it's basically the cream of the crop B-movie material. It rises above just being insanely mind-bendingly good looking. It's insane to me that visual created reality has gotten this far. The only thing that matters is that I felt like a kid playing in his room with action figures, and on that bombshell, Mannix fade out.